We're going to start out with rowing, and what a better way to start off on a Saturday morning. We are so glad you're with us today. Driving around town, maybe getting your Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, whatever. Are you a Dunkin' or a Starbucks?
I'm a Starbucks.
Starbucks?
Yeah. I didn't grow up, I think Dunkin' Donuts is more infused in the Northeast.
Yeah.
You can't go half a mile without running across a Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
And so.
Student of choice?
I'm a Starbucks girl, but I was Dunkin' Donuts when I was younger. But now Starbucks is on campus, so.
Yeah, I see. So you sort of wonder, do I get the coffee from Starbucks and the donuts from Dunkin', or do I get the Dunkin' coffee and then the sandwich from Starbucks? It's kind of a conundrum that we all face.
Starbucks has good treats too.
I know. All right, our coffee conversation out of the way. What kind of week have you had? Number 4 in the country, and not only number 4 in the country, but we also received a vote as the top team in the country. That's got to be pretty encouraging.
We did. I mean, it's a coaches poll within our Collegiate Coaches Association, and so a few Division II coaches vote per week, and one of the votes went our way.
What kind of week have you had?
We've had a really solid week, and we've been voting competitive lineups within the practice. I've done something a little bit different this week. I voted what I call a big boat and a small boat, so I've been calling them the bigs and the smalls, and that I spoke with you maybe about a month ago about just the difference at the Olympic level, that it's a weight-based sport. So there's lightweight women's rowing in the Olympics, and there's open weight rowing for everyone else. So
coaches who coach teams that have positions love to talk about position competition. Mm-hmm. Does the same exist in the world of rowing, position competition?
I think so, and it's just not. You can exchange, like, Alyssa, she'll vie for one of 8 spots in the boat. Does she fit in some spots better than others based on her experience, her strengths and weaknesses? Yes. But ultimately you want to say, I'm looking to make this 8 or this 4 the fastest, and where she fits in that lineup it's somewhat determined, but not absolute, because combinations can change as the athletes adjust their technique and the feel that they have and create in the boat. So yes, position competition exists, especially when you line up 2 8s side by side and you have a person sitting stroke seat and another person sitting stroke seat. Well, both of them are trying to say, I'm the better stroke, let me show you. And then you have a 7 seat battling a 7 seat. And so we've done what we're calling gladiator drills, where they go within the 8, 4 people will be rowing against the other 4, and they row a different sequence, and then the next 4 row. And by a process of elimination, you can start seeing who's really moving the boat.
Right. For those of you, and before I get to Alyssa, I have to ask you, define for me and for our listeners, stroke seat.
Stroke seat. So stroke seat would be the person, and it's a little tricky because in rowing it's the only sport you sit on your butt and go backwards. Mm-hmm. And so it's the person at the front of the stroke setting the rhythm, the cadence, dictating a lot of what the rest of the people behind them are doing, the rest of the athletes. And but when you look at it, the stroke is sitting in the back of the boat. So the boat's going forward, and they're the person sitting the farthest away from the finish line.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it. So now, define for me, give me the profile
of a stroke seat.
Of a stroke seat, the athlete.
Okay. Well, they come in all shapes and sizes, but usually they are very steady, cool characters, and sometimes they're not necessarily the most vocal, but they are what I've equated to a clever politician. They will make everyone do what they want them to do and make them think it's their idea.
So am I to believe that in this sport, it's all about personality and emotional makeup as well as ability? Because I've heard you say this before.
Sure. About
your athletes, that they are cool customers, or they are aggressive, or they are this, and that's how you define them. And I'm thinking, well, obviously when you select an athlete to be in a seat, mm-hmm. their character profile is as important as their ability to row.
It can be, and I guess in that it's. their ability to row and move the boat is absolute, and one of the best compliments I received through a recruit, I asked what they were learning about the team, and I said, you know, what's the team told you about sort of the general makeup? And they said, well, they told me there's no drama on this team. And,
wow, okay,
and
that is...
that recruit just gave us a verbal, which is like,
yeah.
That's also what she's looking for. And so...
I'm on the team now.
There's no drama, and we have 40 women
yeah,
on the team, and they support each other. And when you get in a boat and you can't talk, but you need to communicate to 8 people, not having someone who pitches fits or, you know, is high maintenance, but really supportive and gets to work, and even on the worst day can just pull the best out of themselves. That's the character that we like to build, you know, with our student athletes, and that's what, if they can bring that and develop that, we're in great shape. And the no drama concept is, you know, it's definitely a compliment, and it's where I wanted this team to go. And so
there's a lot to be said for that. All right, let's bring in Alyssa O'Donnell, and I have to tell you, Alyssa's a senior. She's from Saratoga Springs, and it's funny because when April to me, or the month of April to me, represents the start of baseball. And it represents I'm a month away from the Kentucky Derby. You were brought up at, you know, you worked, I guess, at Saratoga. So I have to believe that you think of the Derby every once in a while too when you get to this time of year.
You know, it's funny because growing up in Saratoga, I've been around horses my entire life, but it's funny because so many tourists come to our area during the months of like June and July, where it's the most popular because we have Travers, which is not like the Kentucky Derby, but it's a
the Travers Stakes. Yeah, it's a big race.
It's also a really large horse race, and it's almost like annoying how many people come, but then again, it's really interesting to see how many people are interested in horse racing, because it's also a sport, but it's just so different from something I'm used to. But it definitely, like, you know, when the summer's coming, like there's going to be a lot of job openings because there's going to be so many people visiting, and Saratoga's city population grows dramatically, and there's always so many more people, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But working at the racetrack was definitely an experience.
It's a regal sport. Well,
yeah.
From working at a racetrack to finding yourself in a boat here in South Florida, how in the world did that happen?
Well, I started at a Learn to Row program for my high school in 7th grade, and my sister had also done it, so she liked it, and I was like, I'll give it a try, because I was a cheerleader for a long time, and I gave rowing a try, and it stuck, and I did pretty well, and I got a lot of friends out of the sport, and I worked with some girls at the horse racetrack that were on my team. So yeah, one thing, I tried a lot of sports, and rowing just seemed to fit. So
you find your way to South Florida. You're a senior now here at Nova.
Yep.
Your experience here, what's it been like?
Amazing. I transferred to Nova, actually. I went to a junior college my first year, and Nova was a school that stuck with me and recruited me while I was still there. And I was a little nervous coming here because it was like the main school that still recruited me out of high school, but Nova's been everything I wanted to be. I've learned so much. Like, the girls on the team are great, and I mean, the learning experiences I've had here, from maturing to learning time management skills to understanding communication, being on a team with so many girls, like, it's taught me everything. And then on the student side, the classes I'm taking have really showed me a different side of athletics. I'm an exercise science major, and learning about the body and the muscles and everything that I'm using in my sport when I'm learning about like different parts of the quads and the hamstrings. It's just like, I used all of them this morning, and I know what they're doing, and I know why they're sore. So it's interesting to learn it from 2 different sides.
Well, once we get off the air, I need to ask you a few questions. Do you find, has it been satisfying in terms of your competitive nature?
Yeah, I'm a very competitive athlete. I've always been, and coming to Nova, it's nice to have those girls that push you, because in my high school team I was really pushed, and coming here I was still equally pushed, like especially during the winter season when you're more, it's almost more of a personal goals that you have set, but it's obviously still a team sport, but like having the girls right in front of you and right behind you that push you to get to your personal records is like everything you want, because it's making you faster and it's making them faster. So you want your whole team to be fast, so why not be pushed on both sides?
From a student standpoint, what will you do when you graduate?
It's still up in the air, but I've been looking at a job where I could analyze gait at a sneaker store at home, and then have a side job as well during the summer, and then I'm looking to go into coaching definitely in the fall. I'd like to go to a university, anywhere really. I'm a traveling kind of girl, so.
So, Mary, do we need a grad assistant or something?
We will have a grad assistant position available next year. A grad assistant who currently, Megan Kim, was a soccer player and then a rower here, and is moving on to her internship, and she's been doing a phenomenal job this year. She's a teammate for a lot of our athletes, and and now functions as a coach and a great support system for myself and our assistant coach.
Well, I don't want to negotiate a deal, but I mean, there could be a possibility here. She's looking for some.
Yeah, we'll have to talk. We've got to get through this season first. And focus on the end goal for May.
Well, tell me about what you think about this season, and now that you're ranked number 4, and how that makes you all feel. And no drama. I mean, that to me, that's going to stick with me the rest of the day, because that's pretty amazing.
It's true. Like, our team, we're all, like, it sounds so cliche, but we really are, like, all best friends. Like, my roommate and I are both on the team. We've been roommates ever since I've been at Nova, and, like, we never have drama. Same with the girls on the team. Like, if there is something little, it's just, like, it's not a big deal. Like, just don't worry about it. And so it's just, like, we're all so much fun to be around all the time. We're all, like, silly, and, like, we'll all eat breakfast together a lot of the time. And it's just, like, we're all each other's, like sisters. Like, it sounds so, like, haha, but it's true. Like, I would go for any one of them for anything. Yeah. Like, they're great teammates. They help us. Like, if you need to know a different professor, like, majority of the girls on the team, there's a girl in their major that's an upperclassman, so we can help them out. Or, like, even if they have, like, problems with their family, or just something else is going on, or if they just want to go out and see a movie or something, like, we're always, like, it's always the rowing team, like, we're always all together. Terrific. So it's a good time.
Well, that's wonderful. You developed quite a culture, and I think that there's a lot to be said for that. Tell me about what's ahead for this week and the rest of the season.
So this is a training week for us. We do not compete this weekend, and the following weekend we'll have a large event that we're going to, which is called the States, and it's historically rowing in the state of Florida at the collegiate level has had this championship for, I'm guessing 30 years, but I might have to do my history. In Sarasota, at a new park that's just been developed. It's been about 1,800 meters, and a developer there just dug up a bunch of land and has filled the rest of it and added, I want to say, 400 to 600 meters on, which I've seen the construction project, and it blew me away to see it in person and then just understand what it takes to extend a course. But they're looking to have an international level event there in coming years, and so we'll go across the Everglades and over to Sarasota next weekend, and all the women will compete in 1 to 2, maybe even 3 events. And so a lot of racing experience and learning how to race when you're really tired, because you're going to get tired at some point during your championship race, and you have to know how to dig in and get after it. So that is our goal for the next week, and then we go up to Tennessee and race a regional championship, followed by the Philadelphia race up on the Schuylkill River. I'm sure we'll talk before
We're going to be talking before then.
Right.
Thank you so much, as always. It's a pleasure to have you here. And thank you. They actually brought me some shirts last week that I'm wearing proudly around town. Watching NSU rowing. People go, wow, you're a rower? I go, well, no, but I know a lot of the rowers.
Did you get the one that said, if you're not a shark, you're bait?
Oh, yeah. That's the one.
That's one of our alums came up with that slogan. We love it.
That's pretty clever. Alyssa O'Donnell, senior here. Congratulations for all the work you do, and looking forward to hearing how the rest of the season goes. Mary, thank you very much. Welcome back to Shark Sports Wrap here on 6:40 a.m. Tony Segreto with you on this Saturday morning as we talk track and field and the 23rd ranked Sharks in the country. And with us is Brian Gopian, the head track coach, along with Jessica Osteen. We're going to talk to her. She's a junior and one of the top hurdlers and sprinters in the country. First of all, Brian, 23rd in the country. Are you, well, I know the answer. Coaches are never happy. But it is where you expect it to be with the transition and the new athletes that you have?
Well, it was pretty interesting, actually. We weren't ranked last year at all. We finished 17th last year, and it was really shocking that we came out, when the preseasons came out, we were 20th. And we had a weekend off, so that's why we went from 20th to 23rd. You have a weekend off, you tend to slip a little bit. So right now...
How is that possible? You get penalized for not participating.
So it was a little interesting, but, you know, I look at it this way. People that have been shocked when we go to nationals and do very well. So, because to me, his rankings are just somebody's opinion.
Well, I'm looking here. We have 5 athletes who have qualified for, or we've qualified for 5 events in the nationals for the women. That has to be pretty satisfying.
It is.
Let's talk about those events and those women involved.
It's exciting. Jessica Olsen last year provisionally qualified. She missed. She qualified and she ran at the hurdles, but missed the finals. And Perry Bowman, 3,000 steeples, one of the toughest events in track and field, qualified first time in her career. and which is really exciting. And 4x1, we were there last year. We finished third at nationals, and we're back again, which is nice. And our women 4x400 relay team is looking pretty good too as well. And Demarcia last year qualified in long jump, so she'll be back, and we're hoping that it'll be a big jump from her, so she'll make that All-American spot, which she wants to do.
Very nice. Now, Jessica Osteen is with us here. She's a junior. And now, that was the first time I met Jessica. She's a beautiful girl. And I go, so where are you from? And pretty much every athlete I've met, with the exception of some of the golfers, you know, they're from Saratoga, they're from New Jersey, they're from upstate New York, different parts of the Northeast. And Jessica looks at me, she goes, I'm from Vegas. How did you make your way? Well, I know how you made your way, but how did you wind up here at NSU?
Well, I had a mentor from like 5th grade till about my freshman in high school. And he was my middle school teacher up until then, until I went to high school. And coincidentally, he came here he came here for school, him and his wife for a graduate school. And they now work for the university on the graduate campus. So when I was graduating, going through all my visits and all that, they recommended this school to me. And they, as far as sports goes, they like sports, and they know that's kind of one of the priorities for me. But education has always come first, and he instilled that in me. His name's Dewan Anderson, and he felt that this was #1 choice academics. So I checked out the track team online and made sure there was a track team. And then I just shot Coach Gopi an email and then came down here.
Happy?
Yeah, I am extremely happy. I'm glad that I came here. And then sophomore year last year was awesome. We did really, really well. Got my first All-American title. And then we're going into this year, and I have the same goals, trying to win.
That's pretty special to me. Now tell me about your academics.
I'm a business major, communications and dance minor. I love it here. As far as business, I don't know where I want to take it. I don't know. I definitely want to get my PhD and go to grad school and all that here. So I picked up the communications minor because I like dealing with people and helping other people. So I picked that up, and then I've always had a passion for dance, so I picked that up as well. And I enjoy every bit of it. I have 7 classes this term, and with track and everything, it doesn't seem too bad. I love the student-teacher ratio. That's another reason why I came, but it's awesome. I love it.
What great testimony to what NSU Athletics stands for in terms of student athlete. That's a great testimony. How many athletes do you have?
We started the season out with 62, and it is really difficult. We have practice because we don't have a track on campus, so we have to travel to Anderson's track and field complex in Miramar, and practices due to class schedules. We have practice at 7 in the morning, and they get back about 9:30. So their academics sometimes, where most student athletes would take their classes in the morning, they're taking theirs more later in the afternoon or more evening classes, and plus, getting up early in the morning to catch the shuttle or to catch the vans to get down to practice. It's tremendous. I mean, I have respect for all my student athletes on my team. I know if I was a student athlete back then, I'd be like, nah, Coach, it's not working.
All right, so listen, I have to ask you now this, Jess, because, whatever coach came on, whether it was, Leanne in basketball or, whatever it was, I always asked them, I said, the athletes, I go, well, listen, so does Leanne get on the court with you? Does the coach jump in the pool with you? Do you compete against them? Now, have you ever run against Coach? Does he ever get on the track?
For cross country, both of them actually. For cross country, Coach Brian runs our miles with us. And when I first started, I'm not used to running mileage, and for the women, we averaged about 60 miles a week. So when I started, I'm on a different level than the girls, a lower level than the experienced runners. So Coach would hop in and do the 4-mile loop with us every once in a while. And at first we didn't think that he'd stay up with us or anything like that. So we're like,
old man, right? Come on, you can say it. It's okay.
When we're running and we're just like jogging and we want to, cut off a little bit because it's supposed to be a nice little jog, and it's not happening because Coach is right there, so we have to like push and keep running the 4 miles. But he does run. It's same for our sprint coach this year. She's still an active sprinter in the hurdles, so last year we've seen her a couple times on the track, and this year I think she's trying to do Olympic trials and all that. So they train with us, so it's really hands-on, very hands-on. That's a lot better than coaching from the sidelines. So we get a feeling, like for my hurdles, she's in the lane with me, going over the hurdle, showing me how to do it, and then I can, emulate her the best I can.
So were you surprised that he kept up with you? That's okay, come on. You know what? This is between us. This is between. He can't even hear. I just shut his mind. I just shut his head.
I didn't know his experience, and when he did, it was surprising. And then he'll let us know afterwards. He's done what we've done already, so.
Were you sucking wind a little bit?
Oh, I was, definitely. I actually have to get a bike now to keep up with them, because they get a little bit faster than me, so yeah, I have to get a bike.
On the longer runs.
Have you seen the bike?
Yes.
Yeah, is it a nice
on
bike?
On the longer ones, yeah, the 8-mile runs.
It's not like a four-wheeler. I mean, it's
No.
not. It doesn't have training wheels or anything.
It's like a pedal bike.
Yeah. It's a regular pedal bike.
Yeah.
So listen, you find yourself in a really good position. You're ranked, even though you didn't compete last week and you fell 3 spots. But you've done a masterful job of bringing really good athletes onto this campus, despite the fact that you don't have a facility, which makes it difficult to recruit. But you've got to be pleased with where you stand right now, and qualifying for 5 events in the nationals is certainly testimony to what you've been able to accomplish.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's been a little difficult because we've lost good athletes due to the factors of the facilities. Whether they decided to choose us or another institution, and it comes down to what does the facilities look like, and we show them our facility over at Anson's, but it's when you can have home meets and have your home crowd behind you, but I think we do a really good job of what we have. I know the athletes, when they work hard, they're actually working hard. When we qualify, we know that they're actually qualifying, and it means a lot. So when we go to different meets, it's not a surprise to us where if you compete at home a lot and you go to another track and you're like, oh, I don't like this track because of this. We're used to it. We adapt to the different changes and we overcome. I mean, it's awesome. It's a great feeling. I'm always proud of all my student athletes that when they compete, and whether they PR or for the season or for their career or qualify for nationals, I'm just as happy if we won the national title. It's just really awesome.
Well, that's got to be nice for you to hear your coach talk about you all like that. And tell me about the camaraderie between everybody on this team. We had the rowers on earlier, and they were saying this is one of the few teams they've ever been on where there was no drama.
For our team, since we came back from last year, and it was a little rough last year, I feel like we did a good job transitioning into this year with the people who came back from last year. We have a lot of younger freshmen, for the guys' side at least. For the women's, we only had 1 freshman, and so it was easy. We all came back together, so we meshed pretty well. But for track and field, it's a little different because it's an individual sport. So as far as our sprinters, and our distance runners are a little split. Like the sprinters, we're all together. The distance runners are all together. And then when we go out of town, we all come together as a team, and we have fun and stuff like that. But as far as field events and other things, like we're all pretty spread out. Like when we have practice, we don't practice together because pole vaulters have their
They're
own.
in the pit.
Right. So it's a little more difficult to stay meshed like that. But we try our best as far as the upperclassmen on the team. We have team dinners and we have team outings and stuff like that. So we all can get to know each other and have fun. But it's a huge team and we're all pretty split. So as far as, but for competition-wise, when we're on the track, one thing that I commend my team for is, even though we don't practice together and things like that, but when we see each other at meets or at practice, no matter what we're doing, we'll stop and, oh, let's go Jasmine, or let's go whoever. So it's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, it's a pleasure to have met you.
Thank you.
Nice having you on. You do great with communication. You may have to come back on this show and help me out sometime. Jessica Osteen, a junior from Las Vegas, qualified for the Nationals later in the week. Hey, we're talking baseball, and there's never, ever a bad time to talk baseball. And we had the Marlins opener, and we have Greg Brown, the head baseball coach of NSU, and Zach Westcott, our sophomore pitcher from Cypress Bay, right there in Weston. We'll talk to him in just a minute. But first of all, the Marlins opener, you know, it brings baseball to the forefront of people's minds, which is always a good thing. Because I know the colleges have been playing, you know, for a month now, and people are going, really, really? Because now it's baseball season starts. So a little comment on the Marlins opener and the fact that it does bring baseball to the forefront for people.
Yeah, no, I mean, opening night's always exciting, you know. I mean, we
Still not sure about the uniforms, I'm sorry.
we always look forward to it, you know, I mean, just as baseball people, you know, and opening night's such a special day. Making that opening night roster, you know, I mean, that's such a big deal. And then for this year, for the franchise, which I played for, you know, I mean, which I have a lot of hometown pride, you know, I mean, I still remember Charlie Huff's first pitch, and I still, all those memories, you know, back when I was a kid, and to now have our own ballpark, which, I mean, is just absolutely gorgeous. Can't wait to go, you know, with the Houston Astros coming and former Shark J.D. Martinez coming, you know, we're all going to take a ride down there that weekend to see him. And so that'll be our first experience, so that'll be double sweet for, you know, for the program. But I mean, just the Marlins and what they mean to this community with two World Series titles, and it couldn't be a better story.
You watched, I don't know if you watched the game or not, but
Yes.
you always, you know, you're a sophomore, you're always thinking, could that be me
Yeah.
5 years from now, right? You're looking at Johnson on the mound and watching him throw. You got to believe that in your head.
I mean, it's a dream for sure.
Yeah. And do you look and see his mechanics, and you look and see what it would take to get you in that position?
A little bit. He actually came out to one of our practices last year and threw on the mound, and I was standing behind home plate. We had the turtle up, and I thought, like, it was really funny to me because I never noticed how tall he was, and every pitch he threw, like, from behind him, I thought that the ball was bouncing in the dirt because of the trajectory of the ball, and I came around like a couple of feet and saw it was like perfect spot on every time, and I just don't know how he gets hit. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
And you know, for him, for someone like that, and what we talk a little bit about pitching here, is, you know, everybody talks about velocity, 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 velocity. But you look at a guy like Jamie Moyer, who's throwing in the 80s, and it's all about placement. It's all about putting it in the right spot. And I'm sure you're like drilled. It's all about, you know, being able to hit your corners, knowing your hitters, knowing where they are in the box, knowing where their hands are on the bat, as to what you can do.
Yep.
When I got to believe that is something that you preach day in and day out to your pitchers.
Yeah, you know, I mean, location over stuff is our philosophy. You know, as a manager, you know, I just can't tolerate walks. You know, I mean, because there's
Who can?
Yeah, it's the old cliche, I guess, from every manager. But you know, we have put guys in position to pitch that are going to get the majority of your innings, are the guys that pound the zone. You know, and Zach, coming off last year, he had 7 innings as a freshman. He had 7 innings as a freshman, and he's got over 7 wins now. You know, I mean, as a featured guy for us. And the reason is because his ability to compete in the zone. You know, and the guys who have less stuff and can pitch in the zone, when their bodies catch up or athletically they get stronger and they get stuff, those are the guys that take off, which is a great, you know, Mike Fiers, who pitched in the big leagues last year, you know, played for Coach Mominy here in 2009. Mike Fiers was that guy. He played junior college ball at Broward College, and he was 84, 85, competed in the zone, but he didn't have stuff. A couple years later, arm picks up, you know, velocity goes. Guy was in the big leagues, you know, in a very short time.
What a big jump for you.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was actually.
I think about this, and you're 2 years removed from your senior year of high school, pitching against, you know, St. Thomas, pitching against McCarthy, pitching against all those schools, and now you find yourself as a featured Friday night guy.
Yeah,
It's got to be unbelievable to you how quickly this has all happened.
It's definitely unbelievable. We lost a lot of arms on the mound last year, and Sean Ty came back a little injured, so he's closing for us right now. But I mean, I've been working hard on all the off season. Over summer, I worked hard, so it's good that it's actually paying off now.
Hard work. There's no way to get around it.
No.
There's no way. Either you love the game enough that you put the work in, or you say, all right, my ability is my ability, wherever it takes me, it takes me. And chances are you're going to get to a certain level, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Hard work always wins out. Talk about that culture that you were brought up with about hard work, and how you've done it in many cases by yourself, which I'm sure you have been, with no one around, just because you love the game.
Well, it hasn't really been a coach. It's been more like my mom. My mom's been the type of person to put in hard work ever since I was young, and it just carries over to the ball field. And I go away to summer ball, and that was probably the best thing that's happened to me in my career. I got 30, 40 innings over summer, coming off a year that I only had 7, and my arm just really developed, and I've been hitting the weights. Like my biggest thing is I like to work hard just because I know I like to feel that I'm working harder than who I'm up against, and that just makes me feel better. I like to know going into St. Leo, I like to know that I'm working harder than St. Leo's guy.
Wow, what a dream to have a young man like this to coach.
Well, you know, I mean, Zach.
I mean, do we even need you around now?
No, absolutely not. Fortunately, you know, a very great position to be in is on every Friday night, just, you know, writing his name in. You know, I mean, and it's been inked in, and he's taken advantage of an opportunity right away. You know, and Zach's it's kind of a great story, you know, personally, because Zach was the first high school guy that I brought in when I got the job. That summer when I got the job, he was the guy that I hunted down, you know, and went down and watched him pitch, you know, with the South Florida Elite Travel Squad. And you know, the funny thing is he didn't have a great performance the day I was there, but it was the way he competed. And Zach's, he's kind of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type guy, because off the field, he is just a great kid to be around, fun, loving. You get him on the mound, and this dude his persona changes, and he starts competing. He's barking at the other guys, you know, I mean, but in a good manner. I mean, because he understands.
He's a leader.
Yeah, absolutely. It's competition that fuels us, you know, and that's why we're in this business. That's why we play. It's for competition. It's not to get by. It's to get after the opponent and try to win. I mean, and when we're trying to prepare a roster to win a national championship as well as a conference championship, there's nothing better than knowing that on Friday night we're going to get a competitive nature guy who's going to give us a chance to win.
Tell me about the week you've had, where you feel you've been, and I know you got a big series with St. Leo.
Yeah, coming off last week, we were 3-1, you know, and we really swung the bats.
You've been swinging the bats all year, though.
Yeah, it's a point of pride, I think, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it's just something that when we play 9 against 1, we have a chance to really compete against a pitcher. You know, I mean, our lineup really strings it together. And going into the Barry series, you know, we're facing a very familiar opponent. We played them 7 times last year. This was the 3rd, 4th, and 5th time that we had played them on the current year. And we went into a series where we jumped out and we got a great offensive performance as well as pitching performance on Friday. And then on Saturday, had a battle a little bit, you know, and won a tight game. And you know, game 3 got away from us a little bit, and that's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, you're on the road and you win a series 2-1, and you'll take that every time. You know, and I think that our roster is just very confident, very prepared. You know, sitting with as many wins as we have right now, and you know, the national rankings, all that stuff. This team has a very strong ability of putting forth their effort to the next opponent, not really worrying about what we've done, and I think that comes from the culture that we have. It's you know, who's next? You know, I mean, I always love the quote from Bart Scott in the playoffs. You know, the Jets linebacker. You know, he said, "Can't wait." You know, and that's the way we are. We finish playing and we're like, "Hey, can we play again?" You know, I mean, that's
well, it helps when you win.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because when you're losing, you're going, "Oh, please, when is the next game?" So you how many more? You've got 30 more. Am I correct?
Yeah, 30 more games. Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, less. We're halfway right now. So,
right. Still a lot more.
Yeah.
Are you starting to manage your team whereby you're giving people an opportunity to get a day here, a day there, a game here, a game there to get a little time off, or have you not reached that point yet?
No, I think the college season kind of bodes that opportunity, you know, because of the Tuesday weekend schedule, basically the Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, and now we have less midweek games, so which actually gives us about 6 days off, 5 days off, where we can prepare the guys physically, because it's been taxing. I mean, through the fall season, into the winter, and into the spring, these kids have been working hard for 6-7 months now, and that's not taken away like Zach, who went away and played in summer ball where he got 40 innings. So now he's on pace to pitch the most. He probably already has surpassed the most amount of innings he's pitched in his life in a calendar year.
Feels good. Can't complain.
It's still alive.
Still working.
Yeah, but that's got to be a concern. You don't want to blow him out, a young man, but still you have to manage how he throws.
Yeah, there's two schools of thought. I mean, so a lot of times we are conservative and hold guys back, and then there's other schools of thought that think the more you throw, the stronger you get. You know, and when I was a player, you know, being that I was a catcher, I threw every day just as much as pitchers, maybe more, because, you know, when they came out of the game, I was still in, and I always felt my arm got stronger as, you know, when days off would actually make me, I'd feel like a little bit of attrition, you know, with my arm strength. And so I think it's all based on personality. Zach's a worker. You know, Zach's a guy where we have to conserve his amount of throws in between starts because he wants to keep getting after it, you know. And probably the thing that he's sitting there chomping at the bit to tell you is that in our muscle shark competition, he did win. And he's very proud of that.
Well, listen, we have 2 minutes left. I want you to explain to me this muscle shark competition.
It was just, it was a little bit over a week long of different events every day. And there were 4 captains. They picked their teams in private, so no one really knew who they were picking. And I mean, I was told I was first overall pick, but I don't know about that. But yeah, my team ended up, a freshman was my team captain, Bubba Baronial, and he ended up, our team ended up winning, and overall I ended up winning individually. So it was pretty.
What did it entail?
There were a lot of stuff. There was pull-ups, there was towel hangs, there was plate walks, sled pulls, tug of war, just a bunch of activities. Not really like big weight pressing, but like more like athleticism.
A beast.
Oh, he's an animal, and it was great because each team took on their own persona, and they started competing against each other. They got into the tug of war, and they're getting after it. I mean, it's something that it was the end of the fall thing that Coach Steve Orris, our strength coach, you know, really emphasized, and he was meticulous about who he picked even to be captains because it had to do with their work ethic. But you know, I mean, I hate to boost his ego, but he was the first one.
All right, Greg, it's always great to talk to you, and you know, as we said, even off mic, talk baseball, we could sit here all day.
So always, man, I appreciate it.
Zach, pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too.
Cypress Bay, I'm glad that the locals are doing well, and certainly it's great to have you in the lineup on Friday nights. I know Greg is very encouraged every Friday night to pencil you in. It's always great to talk to you.
Thank you.
Have a great week, and we'll continue to talk to you. We'll see you next week right here on Sharp. And welcome back to Sharp Sports Wrap here on 640 AM. Tony Segreto with you. We're wrapping up our show talking golf. When you talk golf and NSU, you're talking about national championships, #1 rankings. We're with men's golf coach Garrett Runyon and sophomore Ricardo Cilia, who comes to us from Columbia. He's here on campus now at NSU. We'll talk to Ricardo in just a moment, but let's talk with Coach Runyon and your men. I know the men have always said to themselves, boy, the women have won back-to-back national championships. It's our turn. The way you've performed already this year, I have to believe that, I mean, every time I'm reading press releases and seeing you compete, it's winning this, winning that, #1 in the country. You've got to be pleased.
Absolutely. Our guys have worked hard, and you know, with the girls, they had a strong group of girls for those 4 years, and they went runner-up in 3 national championships. That's hard to beat, and you know, our guys they were super happy for them and all that, and now they want a piece of the pie. They're hungry for it, and you know, they're working hard and trying to get that first national championship for men's golf here.
Oh, tell us about how things have been going for you.
Things have been going good. You know, Ricardo Cilia has been one of our top players. He's a sophomore for us. He's had a top 10 in 4 of the 8 tournaments we've played already. Has only finished outside the top 20 once. Ben Taylor's ranked #1 in the country right now. He has a win individually and has only finished outside the top 10 once. And then Oscar Langdon, another freshman for us, is ranked 15th in the country and actually just got a win for him individually in our last tournament. And has been, I mean, those 3 have been our workhorse for us, and we're competing. You know, last year we'd have a couple tournaments where we compete, and the other tournaments we were kind of middle of the pack and not as good as we'd like. You know, now our guys are finishing 3rd, and they're hungry and mad that we didn't get the win, and that's a good feeling and a good problem to have.
What's the strength of this team?
I think it's confidence. We have guys that are a lot of confidence and experience and just leadership. I mean, with Ricardo, Ben, and Oscar, they've just kind of carried everybody's game to the next level. You know, they see us, you know, winning and shooting these numbers. I mean, we've had 265. Ricardo shot a 64. I mean, that's the lowest score in school history. I mean, before you know, guys were happy kind of, you know, we got a 69. That was a good round. I mean, I can't tell you how many rounds we've had in the 60s, 66, 67.
What do you attribute that to?
It's got to be practice. got to be practice and confident. I mean, with the more practice is the confidence. I mean,
are we strong off the tee? Our short game, what is it? I mean, I know we're pounding it. I know we're driving it well over 300 yards.
Some of it's been in the weight room and being able to hit it further and attack those par fives, and that's kind of been our MO as we've been tearing up the par fives. And I tell my guys, we can play the par threes around even par and the par fours around even par, and then tear up the par fives and go under par on those, then we'll do well, and that's kind of how it's been so far for us.
Let's talk about your game. Off the tee, what are you?
Well, I feel that last year that was like one of my weaknesses because I didn't drive the ball well. I was missing too many fairways, and this year I made some swing changes before the spring season, and I feel that I'm hitting more fairways and I have more birdie chances because I'm hitting more fairways.
Well, I would think so. I mean, when you talk about the strength of your game being the wedge game, that means you're in a position to use your wedge a lot, and you're bringing it in from 150 or 120.
Yeah.
Right. So you're driving it pretty well.
Yeah, I'm driving it much better this year.
When the short game is so critical in the game of golf. I mean, you ask any golfer. I mean, I remember watching Ray Floyd practice. And he would spend hours just with 7, 8s, and 9s, wedges. I mean, hours upon hours.
That's kind of what Ricardo does. We kind of work our games from the hole back to the tee, and I want our short games to be razor sharp because you can erase so many high numbers and stuff with good putting and good wedges. Without that, I mean, it's easy. You start missing greens in a hurry, and that wedge and short game's not there, then your score starts going up. If you can able to save that par, keep that round going, it just is huge.
Yeah, but at the same point, when you're off the tee like these guys are, and you're hitting 8, 9 and wedge into the green, it's a lot different than hitting 6 and 7 into the green in terms of getting it close and sticking it.
Absolutely. They get a lot more practice when they're bombing that far off the tee. So.
Have they surpassed you off the tee now, Garrett?
They all think I'm the shortest one on the team, but I don't want to hit it by too much and lose their confidence.
All right, let's find out the truth, Ricardo.
He's short.
By how much?
20 yards average, yeah.
Really?
20, 30 yards.
He's forgetting one day we played, and I just jumped out of the cart and hit his driver, and I did get him by him, and he was. I haven't let him forget about that one too soon yet.
Hey, the world of sports, no matter what sport you're in this new world, it has changed. When you talk about the pros today and the college players today, they're using the weight room unlike no other golfer before them. I mean, when the greats, whether it was Byron Nelson, whether it was Jones, whether it was Nicklaus or Palmer or Player, they worked out, but not to the extent of what these athletes are doing now.
We worked out. We had workouts this morning at 6:30 in the morning, and I think what you're seeing is back in the day, what the pros were doing, the college kids are now doing, and then what the college used to do, now the juniors are doing, and it's just kind of worked its way down where it's like kids in middle school are already working on nutrition and weight rooms, and it's just making everybody better, stronger, and faster sooner.
Let's talk about the weight room just for a minute, and we do have a lot of golfers, especially those listening, maybe going to play golf today. It's much different than a football player doing weights. Give us a rundown, give me a snapshot of what to expect when you walk in a weight room and you see the golf team there.
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to be like a middle linebacker or anything like that. We don't really care about benching 350 pounds. We want short, quick, explosive movements. We want to keep our flexibility. It's more built like kind of a basketball player, lean and strong versus like a middle linebacker. We do a lot of box jumps and pull-ups and just quick, explosive muscles. We do the beach muscles every now and then, and we'll do the curls and triceps, and we do a lot of core and rotation, stuff like that, and balance on different balls and things like that.
Right. Has the weight room helped you?
A lot, yeah. When I first came here, Garrett he told me that I was fat and I wasn't flexible enough.
Wait, he told you were fat?
Yeah, he told me that, and I got into so I started working out like since a year ago, and I feel better now. That's why I'm hitting it straighter and longer off the tee.
How long do you hit it?
Average like 290, 295.
He's one of the longest on our team and one of the longest in the country. And I did not call him fat.
Come on.
I did not call him fat.
He seems to have a vivid memory.
He's
He's young, you know, that mind isn't distracted like,
That's
you
right.
know, when you're older.
I might have used some other words to get a little motivation, but he has done really well in the weight room, and he has lost a lot of weight and gotten a lot of stronger. And now in tournaments, he'll show me his guns a little bit, and it's
Hey,
improved.
listen, we're streaming. Let's see. Whoa. All right, let me ask you this question. Basketball teams, baseball teams, football teams, they have a swagger.
Mhm.
They walk on the court, they walk on the field, they have an attitude. When that swagger is seen by the opposing team, you know, however they react how they react. But when you walk out with confidence, you know, other teams react to that. How does that play, or does it play?
Oh, I think it plays a lot. And we said on our last tournament, we had sophisticated swagger.
Okay, would you please define that for me?
We like it when we go to the airport. I mean, we're traveling in pants, we're dressed, we have the same matching belt, we have the same everything, and we're looking sharp. And in our last tournament, it was 90 degrees. It was hot down in Miami, just real hot, and everybody was wearing white shirts and shorts and whatever. And the last day, we're like, you know what? We kind of made our tradition. No matter if it's 40 degrees or 100 degrees, we're wearing pants the final day. And we wore white pants the final day in South Florida, and we looked sharp, and everybody just kind of, you know, double takes at us, and what are these guys doing? They must know something, have something, or whatever, and we just kind of have that, like, everybody's looking at us, we're going to go, and, you know, we shot the best round of the tournament and the best round of the final round, and it's kind of been our little MO, and so it's our little thing we do, and it makes us feel like we have a little bit of edge, because there's no defense in golf. So that's kind of
Sophisticated swagger. You have to like that.
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, sophisticated swagger. I never heard quite put that way. So tell me now, in the last minute that we have here, what to expect this week and where we stand and what's in store for the team.
Number 2 in the country, going to a conference out in Bradenton at Concessions. It's heard it's a beast of a course. Barry's number 1, we're number 2, and Lynn is number 3 in the country. So it's just going to be a dogfight. Anyone can win at any given day, and so hopefully we can go through there victoriously. And then we head to regionals up in North Carolina, and from there the top 8 move on to the national championship, and hopefully we just keep going.
When you play a course like you said, like you play Concessions, you've never played before, right? What do you do to prepare? Do you look at it? Do you get the topography? Do you get tapes of what the course looks like?
We'll go online and do as much research before as we can, and normally you talk to enough people, someone's played it, and they can tell you certain things about it. But our practice rounds have been pretty good, where we write down everything. We get all the yardage, we get down where not to miss, where to miss, things like that. We write down all the breaks and things like that. So, you know, before the night before, we'll go over everything and make sure we've basically got our game plan.
You know, we haven't had till this week, well, the last couple of days, we've had some rain, but we haven't had a whole lot of rain. I have to believe the courses you've played, especially here in South Florida, the greens have been lightning fast.
They've been pretty good. Yeah.
Are they running 9, 8?
No, they're running faster than that.
Have they?
Yeah, 10, 11 maybe. What do you think, Ricardo?
Yeah, well, in Barry they were pretty quick, some greens. Like, I think they can run like a 10, 11.
10 and 11?
Yeah.
So it's good for us. We like the fast greens.
Yeah, my goodness gracious, especially the way you're putting.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, Garrett Runyon, thank you so much. Number 2 in the country, regionals coming up. We're going to be keeping our eyes wide open. And for those of you who are listening to us and never, if you played Concessions before and you want to send emails to the coach, I'm sure he'd love to know a little bit about greens and fairways.
Any pointers.
And listen, any little edge, you know, especially with this sophisticated swagger that they have here in the Sharks. And Ricardo Cilia, thank you so much. Oh my God, those guns in the waist.
Yeah, don't hurt them.
And we want to thank you all for listening to us once again here on 640 AM Shark Sports Rep. We are here every Saturday morning at 8:30. We are so thankful for you listening to us. We're thankful for our sponsors, Phil Smith Chevrolet, one of our great supporters. We talk about him all the time. And for those of you who listen, we are here, as we said, every Saturday morning talking everything you could possibly want to know about Sharks athletics. For all of us here at NSU, I'm Tony Segreto. We'll see you next week right here on 640 AM Shark Sports.